Welcome to the Doktor O'Kay Show. I am the SportsZu filling in for the Doc today as he is under the weather, but he vows to be back for tomorrow for the OK Not OK podcast. And of course, he gave me all of the fines and all of the records so I can give those to you, but here I am from the SportsZu's parents' house, so pretty lovely setup we've got here for Christmas. But let's go right to the main headline of just keep being the definition of In-ZAYN-ity. But we'll get to that one in a minute, so let's start with the matches as always, where we just keep taking advantage of the help as Natalya very nicely suplexed Fyre off of the turnbuckle, but that left Natalya open to be hit with an over-the-moonsault by Iyo Sky as she picked up the win and advances to the semifinals of the Women's Intercontinental title tournament. So that means Iyo is the one, and she hit a lot of things out of the sky, per usual, with a missile dropkick, suicide dive, springboard moonsault, and then finally that over the moonsault. So she goes to 4-1 in multi-person singles matches. Fyre is the twos, and she landed a nice springboard tornado DDT and also a double swanton bomb. But she goes to 0-4 in multi-person singles matches and looks like she's going to end the year winless at 0-6 in all singles matches. And then Natalya, she is the threes, led by a double sharpshooter, but it was just a little bit too much as the other two were able to squirm their way to the rope, which doesn't count as a break, but that was able to give them enough leverage to get out of it. So Natalya drops to 0-5 in multi-person singles matches and just 1-7 in all singles matches. However, a very entertaining start for in-ring action. I'll give this an okay. Up second, we just keep getting locked out of the academy as Gable landed 3 straight German suplexes, then a powerbomb, and then finally that ankle lock that he just would not let go of. And Akira Tozawa had to tap out, so Gable is the ones, and he got his knees up when Tozawa had his one opportunity on a flying senton, so Gable picks up the win to go to 5-8 in one-on-one matches. But for Tozawa, after Otis had a nice distraction by yelling at Gable for always cheating, Tozawa was able to hit a super kick, but then he couldn't quite finish off that flying senton, so he goes to 1-2 in one-on-one matches. And then, of course, Gable would not let go of that ankle lock after the bell had rung, so Otis got into the ring. He grabbed Gable and tossed him to the other corner, but that's where American Made stepped in and got in front of the two. However, we will finally get Otis against Gable next week, and Doc says no STFs for that because Gable just wouldn't let go. So we'll let that go. Nonetheless, pretty short match, mostly a little bit too much domination by Gable. I guess I'll have to give it a not okay. Up third, we just keep getting caught like the wet bandits as Damian Priest snuffed out all of the members of the Judgment Day, and he finally got a DQ win when Balor attacked him from behind. And that means Damian Priest is the ones, as he thought he was home alone with just Dominic Mysterio when he caught Dominic's punch that he goaded him to take and then put him in a torture rack. But he did end up getting that DQ win in the end and goes to 12-4. That means Dominic Mysterio is the twos, and he only took this match because Finn Balor and Liv Morgan, despite sitting next to each other in the Judgment Day's clubhouse, would not speak directly to the other and instead had to go through another member of the team. So Dom had the great idea to talk to Adam Pearce to get this match against Priest, and well, it didn't go very well for him, even though he thought he had a grand plan, including having JD McDonough dress up as Santa Claus and have Carlito waiting underneath the ring. However, Priest figured it all out and then was helped by the War Raiders later on, and they were able to clear the ring of the Judgment Day. However, it was the Judgment Day's plan, so all of the men from that group will get fines. And for the match itself, he is going to 3-10 in one-on-one matches. And Doc wanted me to say that this match did not adequately replace the Miracle on 34th Street fight, so it has to get a not okay. Up fourth, we just keep summoning the ghosts of Christmas Present, because after Karrion Kross hit a forearm on Dexter Lumis to cause a disqualification, all of the members of the Final Testament surrounded the ring until Dexter Lumis raised his arms up, which caused the lights to go out, and the rest of the Wyatt Six, except for Uncle Howdy, appeared and they were able to clear the ring. So Lumis is the ones, and he dominated The Miz in this one with a really nice Uranagi, and mostly just had him running all around trying to get away, and then had a nice dive on top of both members of AOP, and this was his first one-on-one match in a very long time, so he goes to 1-0. But for The Miz, he was scared of his former associate and kidnapper in this one, so he barely did anything on offense, and the Final Testament fortunately bailed him out, so I'm not so sure he's upset with taking a DQ loss here. So he and each of the members of the Final Testament, except for Ellering, who wasn't there, will get fines. He goes to 2-6 in one-on-one matches, and again, we would have liked to see some more wrestling here, so we'll have to give it a not okay. And in our main headline and in the main event, we just keep being the definition of In-ZAYN-ity, because Sami Zayn couldn't help himself but to make himself McIntyre's problem yet again, and so he suffered for it with another Claymore and another loss to Drew. And so McIntyre is the ones, and he went home to spend an extended time in Scotland because a family member died, but was mad because only one person from the WWE checked on him. He said that he had been giving to the WWE all this time, but now he will start taking from everyone, and said that both CM Punk and Roman Reigns are the true villains of WWE, which I think the doc would at least agree with half of that sentiment. But when we got to the match, McIntyre had a nice tilt-a-whirl backbreaker that really hindered Zayn throughout the rest of the match, and eventually it led to that Claymore for McIntyre to somehow improve to 9-0-1 in one-on-one matches against Sami Zayn, and more importantly 11-5 in 2024. But of course McIntyre just couldn't let it be. He stood over top of Zayn and then decided to just start punching him while he was laying on the mat, so McIntyre will pick up his 9th fine for that attack. But that means Sami Zayn is again the twos, and he picked this fight with McIntyre when he could have just stayed in the back. But no, instead, he was the one that attacked McIntyre first, so Zayn will get his 5th fine of the year. But he was fortunately saved by Jey Uso in that first segment. And then once we got to the match, it looked like Zayn was just being totally obliterated, but he somehow found a way to hit a clothesline on McIntyre just when he looked like he was going to hit a Claymore, and then he turned it into an exploder suplex, but when he went for a haluva kick, well, his back gave out. That had been injured over and over throughout the match, but he tried to regain some adrenaline to do it a second time, but it was too much of a delay, so McIntyre landed that final Claymore to get the win, so Sami falls down to 500 with a WWE worst 12th loss at 12-12, and after he was beaten up by McIntyre, Jey again came down to make the save, and it worked briefly with a spear, but the new bloodline came out of nowhere, and they were able to finish off both Zayn and Jey with Samoan spikes. And obviously the doc says since they weren't allowed to be on the show, they have to get 2-week suspensions. However, this was a great bout, and maybe even better than what they put forward on Saturday night's main event. We have to give this an okay. And beyond the mat for Raw, Seth Rollins had a pre-taped sit-down interview with Jackie Redmond, in which Rollins said that Punk needs the WWE, but it does not need him, and he also said that he needs this fight against Punk right now and needs to extract this demon from his soul, and it was pretty powerful. We'll give it an okay. And lastly, the New Day again tried to speak to the crowd, telling them that they could have laid out Big E and put him back in the hospital, But instead, they did not decide to do that, so everyone should be fine with them. However, Kofi Kingston's mom came all the way from Ghana in a 20-hour flight where she was unfortunately stuck with the middle seat, but she looked awfully displeased with her son, and when he came over to give her a hug, well, she refused and just walked away. So, unfortunately for Kofi, that did not go as planned. Then both of them found Rey Mysterio yet again, and Rey said that he would try to help them as a leader of the locker room, but he said that they first had to apologize for what they did to Big E. But of course, the New Day refused to do that, again saying that they didn't do anything wrong. So Rey said that don't say that at least he didn't try, and then also that New Day sucks. So that will get an okay. So in this technologically impaired right before Christmas episode of the Doktor O'Kay show, I hope I filled in for the Doc adequately, and he vows to be here tomorrow to, I hope, give you some presents for Christmas Day. But if you missed the Doc's presents from SmackDown, be sure to go right over here and check out that video. And no matter what, be sure to have a Merry Christmas, and we'll give this episode an okay.